Hatep Yasar. Peace, family. That's what that means in the Wapic. Our language has been resurrected. It was a once dead language. It's been resurrected by Pt.1, the master of heaven and earth. As you see, standing behind me. The master teacher started a question and answer forum, and no one else since he started it in the late 60s, early 70s, nobody has done it yet because people are too afraid to get up and be questioned. You got a lot of leaders and a lot of teachers, but if you're not answering a question that people may have, how many times have you been sitting somewhere and a person can't really answer your question? I was one of those people, you know, and Pt.1, known then as Dr. Malachi Z. York, was able to answer my questions. And that's why I'm standing here right now. So, you know, with that, it's like, it's important for us as people to have answers to things. Because so many unanswered questions about religion, about culture, about language, and the likes, that no one else is doing it, and the job has to be done. You know, without further ado, I'd like to ask if anybody has the first question.
What is inside of the building has to do with the feminine principle, like the inside of here with the feminine motif?
You said what? Can you repeat the question one more time?
The feminine principle saturating this room in terms of the drawings and stuff on the wall. What's the thing with the feminine principle? Where it's outnumbering the masculine.
Okay, that's a good question. The question that was asked was, with the motif in the building, or the temple rather, why is the feminine principle seem to outweigh the male principle? And the answer is simple. Everybody in here, male or female, has a mother. And not to mention there are more females on the planet than there are males. Because without females, we would have no life. Males are nothing but incomplete females. When you look at your anatomy, you step back and you really look at yourself, all ego aside, because I'm a man too, you know what I'm saying, but all ego aside, we have an elongated clitoris, 2 ovaries that drop down out of the abdominal cavity and become testicles. This is in the womb. And 2 breasts that don't work, that can't produce any type of nutrients. So the feminine principle always, on the physical aspect of things, outweighs the male principle. But there's still a balance in the room. You know what I mean? I can understand where you're coming from, but think about how women feel. When living so long in a predominantly male-controlled world where they've been abused, they've been put to the back burner, they've been told they can't lead prayer because they might get their cycle during prayer, and that will be unclean, when if you believe in the Quran or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you would say, Allah made her period come, so why should that be unholy if Allah made it so? Doesn't it say that we were created from a clot of blood in the Quran? So really, it's really time for women to come back in the front of things, or at least in the front beside the man, as you see in many of the Egyptian statues and things of that nature. You see many men next to their woman, side by side. And that's the way it should always be, because the man carries the soul principle. You follow? You understand what I'm saying?
Not that part about the soul principle.
Well, the soul, see, we come from above, and they come from here. And this is the unification of man and woman. You follow? It's the man carried, the soul of the is carried in the man. Before a man ejaculates, there's a spark that travels up his spine and gets ignited here, and then comes all the way back down and comes and shoots out in a split second, and that's where the soul of the child is carried on. That's the man. We existed as soul beings before we were physical, but it was necessary for us to come through the womb of a woman. You know how the Bible, it says, Adam comes first? You familiar with that, right?
Yes, sir.
How can that make sense if everybody in this room has a mother?
How can it make sense?
Yeah, like, okay, let's just get technical, if you will.
Okay.
How would Adam feed? What did he eat? Was he an infant? Was he 1? Was he 2? Was he 16? Was he 18 when he was created? What did he? If he was an infant, what did he eat? Because according to the story in the Bible, he wasn't breastfeeding. Because they're saying that he didn't come from a woman, right? So what was his source of nutrients? And then how is it that Adam has an XY chromosome makeup, and the Y chromosome is missing 2.8% of the genetic material that's contained in the X?
Well, as far as if he was programmed as far as that goes, it was God.
Okay, so God created man in his image, right? In his likeness, right? Do you have a belly button?
Yes.
Right. So if we're created in the image and likeness of God and we all have belly buttons, what does the belly button come from?
The belly button comes from, as far as I know, physically comes from the umbilical cord and the cutting of it.
Right. And the umbilical cord was attached to who?
The mother.
Attached to the mother. So if we're created in the image and likeness of God and he had a belly button, that means that God had a mama too. You follow?
Yes.
Because now if we go the other route and we say, okay, Adam didn't have a belly button, then we would be, as Partner Babylon Nun has taught us, we would be pre-genetically disposed to not all have belly buttons, and none of us would have belly buttons. You follow what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So the whole thing is, when you deal with Europeans, they dealt with mostly a masculine, homosexual, masculine-controlled world. So everything was push the woman over here, up. King James, he called his wife a witch. She's a witch. Burn her at the stake. You know what I'm saying? So we can go have our little man club over here and do what we do. You know what I'm saying? It was considered, in fact, all the terms of love, you know what I'm saying, that the Europeans gave, especially with the word agape, or however you pronounce it, agape or agape, was the highest form of love, and it was considered the homosexual love between a man and a boy. It's sick. Their religion and everything that they taught us was sick, and we really have to let go of it, especially the male chauvinism aspect of it, because it's done nothing but abuse our women over time. Let's think about the rape, the misogyny, the continuous abuse, sexual, physical, mental, and all the things that we put our women through following behind this Celtic who really doesn't know anything or doesn't really think about the consequences for any of his actions. I mean, literally, look at the way we treat our women and the way we're supposed to treat our women. When was the last time you seen us open the door for our woman? I mean, walk around. Because we got automatic locks now. You ain't gotta, you know what I'm saying? You ain't gotta unlock it. It's already unlocked. You know what I'm saying? You walk around and get the door for your woman. This may be the woman that gave birth to your children. You follow?
Yes, I do.
We have to bring back that. We have to bring back that aspect, and we have to bring. We're the only group of people on this planet right now that's pushing a woman back to her rightful spot. Because literally, without her, we have no life on this planet. Follow? So that's. I hope I answered your question. Is that sufficient for you?
Yes, it follows to another question as well.
Okay, let me get him. I'm gonna come right back to you.
All right.
All right.
I raised my hand because I was going to say that I do that. I do the door thing and stuff. Your question was, when's the last time you seen that? I saw it a couple days ago.
That's good.
Yeah.
We have to bring that back. We have to let the world know. You know, that's how we feel. We have to let them know this is my God. This is my goddess. This is the one who brought life to my children. This is the same principle of a woman that brought life to me. My mother gave life to me. You know, that's why, you know, we joke about it, but nobody likes anybody to talk about their mother. Because that's the woman that gave you life. Even if you never got a chance to meet her, as many people have, it's still the person that gave them life. So we have to have that and bring that respect back. Follow?
What the last thing that you were saying before you went over to him, in terms of the nation being the only ones at this point in time that's giving credence and actually putting forth effort mentally, spiritually, emotionally, the whole nine to forefront the female, our females. Whatever happened with that situation with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was speaking about no nation can rise higher than this woman? Did they just abandon that over a period of time? Because I haven't been keeping up with it at all.
You know, that's
the way they were doing things in terms of the woman, the way they held the woman at the time.
You know, that's such a good question, because a lot of people don't realize Elijah Muhammad was the one who told people. He said, after I move on, after I pass, there will be no new leader of the Nation of Islam. There will be a group of people in all white. And he described what was known then as the Ansar Allah community, and who was known then as Al-Sa'id Isa Al-Sa'id Al-Imam Isa Al-Hatti Al-Mahdi. And he did come, and he did have everything that was said to come. He had the Book of Lam, which we know now as the Holy Tablets. You know, he had, you know, fire in his voice. He had fire in his teachings, and he had the water to cool down the fire in us when we got out of control. He had everything that we needed. He was a being that was raised from amongst us to bring us back to our true nature. You follow? So when Elijah Muhammad said no nation can rise above its woman, it's only befitting that the true warner of our people, as Afaf Reyeka, or Africans on this planet, will come and would start teaching us that this is what we need to do. Raise our woman back to her rightful spot, and then she will give birth to gods again. Once she's goddess, the way she's supposed to be again, goddesses give birth to gods. So it will be no more subservient. It will be no more, I gotta wait for the white man to tell me something. I gotta wait for the Celtic, because he's not really white. He's really Celtic. They're all Celtic. No matter if they Polish, if they Irish, if they Welsh, they all Celtic. But back to the point, it's only right that we raise our woman back. So when Elijah Muhammad said that, and then you see Panababianon resurrect that principle, then you know that this is the exact person that Elijah Muhammad was talking about, and you know that this is the group that's going to be on the forefront for this world at this day and time. You know? In fact, before you know it, it'll be more and more sisters getting up teaching. Because it's happening already, and it's going to be happening more and more. You're going to start seeing it, because there's certain questions as a man that I can't answer. I can't tell a person, I can describe to you what it looks like for a baby to be born, but I can't tell you how it feels to have life move around inside of me. And so if the question comes up, what such and such month, when you start feeling this pain and such, what is that spirit? I can't answer that because I have never been through it. And so it's only right that the women start to come up and come forth and start to explain these things that us as men don't yet get fully. You follow?
I agree.
No? Okay. Anybody, any other questions at all?
I can't think of any at the moment.
I can. In terms of the feminine principle and all, with all considering what you just said, I hear you. In the same respect, how would we go about an approach to healing, say for example, with the dysfunctional part of lives that a lot of black people that we didn't deal with? For example, let's say I come from a family, a matriarchal family. Mm-hmm. 6 sisters, my mom and my aunt. There's 8 women in the house against me and my brother, right?
Mm-hmm. And you said against. Now I noticed that. I understand where you're coming from, because I live in a house full of women. So when you said it's 8 women against me and my brother, I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, you don't have no women against them. And which is I'm saying that in a positive way.
Right, I understand what you're saying.
Win against that particular principle, especially when it's that much together. But my point is this: what I learned was with those many females. And my sisters even my mama with 8 children and whatnot, that made it, they were fertile. All right? So a lot of nieces and nephews would come back through my early years, the early teens and whatnot. The damaging part that I'm trying to direct to you is, how would you go about healing when you have a perception that you've pretty much been raised, let's say maybe deep-rooted? And what I'm saying is some of your experiences, even though, you got compassion for moms and your sisters, your nieces, and you see them born, baby, sister pregnant, whatever. Okay, I come to a thing to where I was like, a child doesn't have to be physically born into the world to be abused. When you have abject poverty, dysfunctional families, single mothers trying to raise all these children, but she's constantly having children by different men per se. Okay, now the males that are born from this type of situation, you have something in you over the course of time. Some can control it to the point to where you find some type of inner healing for it, some way to deal with it. All right, but for the masses, particularly now, as I'm listening to more than you, that's the generation that came after me. I'll be 45 this month.
Okay.
Now I'm talking to a lot of youth in their early 20s.
Right.
Now this is the generation which I pretty much refer to as a microwave generation, but this is the generation that came up with the mothers who were cracked out, more so to where a lot of stuff just exploded with drugs and underage mothers with these children. Now these children 20 to 21 years old and they trying to really hear it, except like you were saying, with the Wu-Nuwaupu message, they're more inclined to listen to a person and say some things to them. But for the person that's walking around with that in their head or in their heart, to where, okay, the female is, I don't know.
Where they don't have so much respect for the female they grew up seeing? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I don't know no nice ones.
Right.
What I'm saying is, for being raised in terms of feeling genuine love and respect from this person, because when all you've seen is crookedness come from that woman, and in your adult years, you're like, okay, something had to make that woman that way.
Right. Well, it's like this. You can't really force a person to see, but over time, people begin to see that there's not just one type of woman. It's like when you was younger, you may have seen one type of example in your household. You may have seen your mother do certain things a certain way. She might have cooked pancakes and made them a certain style of way. And you got used to eating those pancakes. But one day you grew up and you got older and you visited somebody else's family, might be your wife's family, or it might be your girlfriend, it might be a cousin. And you tasted somebody else's pancakes, and it tastes different. And you say, wow, I like these. They different, but I like these. My mama don't make them like this. And you start to realize that there's different aspects of how something can be done. And it just comes with experience. Yeah, there are a lot of females that raised children and brought children into the world at a very young age, but that's part of nature. If they weren't supposed to bring those babies here at a young age, it wouldn't have happened because their body wouldn't have been able to facilitate it. But on the other hand, when you start looking at women that have more than one man produce these children, it's not a slight against anyone that didn't know, but it actually destroys the female's DNA matrix. Let me explain to you what I mean. You have the woman and you have the man. The woman's body is more sensitive because it is superior to the man physically, because she has 2 working breasts in order to feed the child. She has the womb. She has the full kit and caboodle. You follow me? She got everything. So her DNA is sensitive. When she mixes with more than 4 men over a 7-year period, her DNA matrix is wiped out and she starts to become those men. Because now the DNA of those men is so concentrated in her that she starts to act like them, talk like them, and be them. And this is part of the problem of why it's so much controversy and so much stuff going on. In fact, sometimes, you flip into the channels and Maury come on. And what's Maury always about? Who's the...
Comes to 5-year-old Tasha
You are not the father. But 5-year-old Tasha looked like the daddy. That was supposed to be the father, who is not the father. So why does she look like that man? Because so much of that DNA is still in her. It's just like if you spend time with your woman for so many years, you begin to look like her. Y'all begin to look like, people say, is that your sister? You know, if a nigga really want to try you, he'd be like, that's your sister, homie. Like, you know what I mean? Because he looking at her, you know? But it's the point is, once you start mixing DNA with people, you literally are mixing DNA with people. So you might have a characteristic here, a characteristic there, but you might not know where it's coming from. And with all the mixing of the genes, that's what's happening to a lot of females. They're mixing their genes with so many different men because look what Steve Harvey was saying. Think like, what did he say? Think like a woman, act like a man. How'd it go?
Somewhere like that.
Something like that. You know what I'm talking about? But that whole message is what? If a woman starts to act like how we act and think like how we think, right? Number one, she downgrading herself in a sense because, majority of men ain't smarter than the majority of women. I mean, we got some dumb ones out there, don't get me wrong, but the majority of women are smarter than us. That's why they're the ones who raise us. You know what I'm saying? They teach us everything from the ground on up, and it's in their genes to be our nurturers and our teachers. So when we start having women start thinking like us, that's how you take a whole race, for lack of a better way to say it, to hell. Because now you're starting to make the woman think like the man, and now she walking around, the whole thing, muscles, but then if a female police officer gets shot, oh, you shouldn't have shot her, she's a woman. I remember one time I was watching a movie, it was a Ghost Dog with Forrest Whitaker, and the female cop rolls up to the car, sir, may I ask you a question, and he's bleeding to death, he popped her. And dude said, what are you doing? You just shot a broad. You know how they talk. You just shot a broad. He said, she want to be equal, I made her equal. And it made me think, back to the things that we learn. It's like, it's not that I'm saying women can't do everything men can do. Because they can do everything we can do and more. It's just certain things men are better at doing and certain things women are better at doing. You know what I'm saying? I for one, could say bodybuilding. Yes, women are bodybuilders. Yes, women can be very, very strong. But if you take a man and his health at the same age, maybe 30, 25, let's go 25, and you say a woman that's 25, who may be more mature than him, if they both start bodybuilding and they do the same, regimens every day, the man is going to get stronger because he has more testosterone in him, which facilitates his muscles getting bigger. So there's balance. You follow? There's a balance, and I think sometimes we lost that balance. Matter of fact, I know we lost the balance because look at what's going on out here. People are really going crazy. But once we bring the woman back to her rightful spot as the ruler in this matriarch, that's gonna happen regardless because it's happening. Look at Oprah Winfrey. Years ago, there wouldn't have been no Oprah Winfrey. Ain't no white woman did it. Ain't no Celtic woman did what Oprah Winfrey did. We can talk about her. We can say, she ain't, but ain't nobody did what she did. You know what I'm saying? And that says a lot because that's the character. When you look at television, with so many negative images of black folks on television and so many derogatory images, when you see somebody like Oprah Winfrey, you say, wow, like that's a step to nature showing us that the woman really has a lot of to offer, and we need to respect her. You follow? Yes. Anybody else?
Yes. What is the Milwaukee's viewpoint of righteousness?
Righteous just means right or just. Something that is right is something that is correct. Something that is correct beyond shadow of a doubt. And something that is just is something that is done the right way. Meaning, you're not gonna, if a child steals something from the store, you're gonna cut his arm off. You know what I'm saying? You may even say, look, you stole something from the store, how about I take your stuff away? How you feel? You know what I'm saying? You don't want to punish somebody with something that's not equal to the deed that they did. So you would, in other words, you wouldn't lock a person up for 135 years because they taught the truth. That's not just. You follow what I'm saying? You wouldn't then tarnish his image by saying he did things to children that he would never do, and then lie about it, and then put it on national TV, and then, in the name of protecting children, come out to a land that's rural in the middle of Georgia, in Eatonton, Georgia, with guns, you know what I'm saying, bigger than some of these children, and aim them at the children at the back of their head and tell them to get the F on the ground, you such and such and such. You follow what I'm saying? That's not just. Right. You know, the just thing to do would have been, you got any evidence? No. Can anybody produce any physical evidence? No. How long you been monitoring him? 7 years. You gotta let him go. That would be the example of something that's just. You follow? But when they say, and just us for all, in the Pledge of Allegiance, to the flag, they mean just us, not y'all. You follow? Yeah. But what background are you coming from, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm not really devoted to anything. I'm one of those spiritual travelers where I learn from different avenues of life, and then I just apply it to self, with my own upliftment.
Well, what are some of the avenues of life that you have got that took you on a journey?
Wu-nuwaupu, Islam, Buddhism, Christianity, and just me being me, and me being aligned with the Most High created me, just spewing out just the truth and how I do it.
When you say Most High, what do you mean?
The Most High created.
Who is the Most High? You see what happens? Okay, I'm going to ask you another question. Who's your mother? You got a clear picture, didn't you? As soon as I said it, right?
Yes.
But when I said who is the Most High, no picture came, did it?
No.
As soon as you say, it ain't no picture, you feel what I'm saying? That's what they did to our brains. They got us Most High. Then we didn't have this, we had this image of this invisible nothingness. Or, if you go back to what we was indoctrinated with, we start looking for this white God unconsciously. Because the first image of Christ you was shown was a white boy. Everybody. I don't care how many times they paint Jesus black. In your mind, when somebody say Jesus, you think of the white boy. I was walking through the mall today, and I went, past one of them traditionally African-American art stores, and they got a picture of this big, big dude, look like he don't need, with a white Jesus behind him, holding him up. It just goes to show you that some things still need fixing. Because how can you have this white Jesus image when you know if the son is a white boy, right? Right. And you meet him at the park, right? And he said, look, I'm Italian. And he said, look, I ain't never had no spaghetti before. I want to come to your house. And you go to his house, you expect to see a what color father? A Celtic, a Caucasian father, right? You know what I'm saying? So if you look at Jesus as the son, right? And most of the images of Mary that you've seen are Caucasian or Celtic or Kakazu or Mukasu or Patamahu. You know what I'm saying? And you look at that, then you expect God to be Mukasu. So that's the problem when we say Most High. Because when we say when you say Most High to me, the first image that pops into my head is Pt.1 Nun. Because that's the most high being on this planet. That's the most high being that I've ever met, ever seen, ever heard speak, ever seen write or read a book of. That's the most high being. Have you met anybody in your teachings? Or, not met physically, but on your journey, have you met any other teacher? Is Buddha higher than Pt.1 Nun? Has anything he wrote compared to what Pt.1 Nun has said? You can say that?
No.
Has Buddha even written as many scrolls as Pt.1 Nun?
Well, there's a couple. That term is, is given to high-ranking scholars and stuff, but
When you say high-ranking scholars in that term, what exactly are you saying? I missed that. It went right over my head. I missed that.
like high-ranking scholars, like what I mean by that is people who go along the spiritual path and gain wisdom and insight and spiritual knowledge.
So who gives them their rank? When you say high-ranking scholars, like what gives them their rank?
People.
So people give them their rank, not their actions. So the guy that's sitting somewhere by himself, studying and mastering himself, right? He's not high-ranking. But the guy who goes here and there, he's high-ranking because people say that.
Both of them would be.
The point that I'm making is you judge a tree by the fruit that it bears. You follow? And when you look at somebody, when you look at a being, a supreme being such as Pt.1, and you look at the fruit that he's bared over the years, no Muhammad, no Jesus, sorry Christians, no Jesus can compare to that. Because I ain't seen the book Jesus wrote yet. I done heard some, I done heard a couple cookbooks that Jesus gave in the Bible, you know what I'm saying? I done heard a couple things that he said in the Quran, but I haven't seen any works that this so-called Jesus, who by the way, they've never proven existed, ever. I mean, when I say never, I mean, look at the statues that's been made in the world, right? How come there's no consistent one of Christ?
Right, good point.
You follow? But yet, I could go back to Ramses thousands of years before Jesus was even a thought, and I could find consistent bust after bust after bust after bust, carving after picture in stone. But I can't even find a consistent picture of Jesus in painting.
Right.
Or Buddha.
Right.
Some Buddha's hair is nappier than mine. You know what I'm saying? Look like they screwed each nappy in one by one. You know what I'm saying? But yet, I haven't seen any books that Buddha really produced. Buddhists are still doing the same thing that they did 35,000 years ago. You know what I'm saying? They still doing the same mantras. Nothing against Buddhists. Again, you know what I'm saying? It's not for me because Buddhists aren't really African. You know, that's not for me. It's not my culture. So nothing against them, but I haven't really seen anything that they produced. But as Africans or Afafureye Kau, we produce the whole world. Our master teacher produced master student teachers. Our master teacher produced a real solution to the problems that we've been facing as Afafureye Kau people in this world. You follow what I'm saying? So the reason why I asked you, what journey have you taken is because a lot of people say, I study here and I study there and I study here and I study there. And I'm like, well, why not just come on home when we got all of that in the pot already? You know what I'm saying? Because when the Buddhists and Mohammedans or the people that study Islam, when they came along, all they were doing was taking scoops out of our bowl. Because every position in Salat, which you cannot find in the Quran at all, every position is on the wall in Egypt. Every single position. Everything that they got from us. So wouldn't it be better just to go to the source? You understand what I'm saying?
Well, I found you.
I mean, you found us. You found Pt.1.
Yeah.
Don't say me. You found us. We are us. You one of us, or else you wouldn't be here.
Of course.
You follow?
Yeah, we're on one accord.
Exactly. This is a family. And that's why we have to stop letting them break us up. Okay, you're from this part of Africa. You're from this part of Africa. You're from this tribe. You're from this tribe. You're from that tribe. Instead of saying we all one family. Because we really all are one. We really are all one family. Follow? That I'm gonna pass the class on to my good brother Atum Hutep Emre Atumre. Yeah. Hi, Tab. Do you have any questions?
I had another question, but I forgot it.
Oh, yeah? Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, brother.
I do a question. This question pertains to this hype on same-sex marriages and whatnot.
Yeah.
My question is, how does a lesbian or a bona fide lesbian or a gay person tie into or relate to a hermaphrodite?
Repeat that one more time.
A hermaphrodite.
No, repeat the question one more time. How do
the lesbian and the genuine
lesbian, homosexual,
physically gay person and a lesbian person relate to a hermaphrodite?
Now, how does a lesbian or homosexual relate to a hermaphrodite? That's what you basically want to say?
Yes, sir.
Okay. There's two ways you look at that. This is we taught by our master teacher, Pt.1. You got homosexuals and homosexuals. Homosexuals are people who are actually born, would they say gay, right? I'm going to explain to you. You say, yeah, go ahead.
Those are two different words, right?
Yeah, homosexual and hormone sexual.
Okay, I want to make sure I was hearing that part, right?
In ancient Africa, right? I mean, Africa, you know what I'm saying? Africa, right? Africa, we knew about certain ways that we give birth to our children. And what happened is something that we haven't learned in America because we was cut off from our connection from our ancestors when we were separated from our parents. Certain things was passed down when dealing with on pregnancy. And what happened is one of the things was that to control the gay population where it doesn't overpower, but it was still allowed. Because you got to remember that it's deeper than what you think what homosexual is. It's just that once I explain it to you, you'll understand where I'm coming from. The African chiefs or males, when they get their women pregnant, they will leave their presence for 9 months. Because that's taught to us by Partner Babyanun, is that when a woman gets stressed out by men, it will cause to change the genetics or the hormones of the child inside her womb. In the first 3 months, you determine the sex of the child. So what happened is the man will leave for like 9 months out of the presence of the woman. Because if you stress your woman out in the first 3 months, she could get to the point where she gets so emotional that she started releasing a certain amount of estrogen, right? And this child could be a boy. You feel what I'm saying? Now you see where I'm going at, right?
Absolutely.
Because you got to remember that all children start off in the womb first as a female. Yes. Without the male hormone known as testosterone, you would not become a male. You feel me?
Yes.
So once the testosterone hits the fetus, then it changes the sex from female to male. You hear me?
Yes, I do.
So if you're pumping more than enough estrogen inside this male's body, what will happen?
You'll have female tendencies.
Exactly. Now a lot of people say, oh, you're gay by conversion, right? That's not true. I mean, it's true, but not everybody on the planet Earth that's gay or actually was converted to being homosexuals.
I agree.
Because anyone who's been around, see, I'm 43, about to turn 43. And I come from an era where you had a switch when you was a child. Grandma, not your mother, but grandma said, oh, he needs some shots. Anybody remember that? Huh? Do you remember that?
No.
I know you remember that.
Yes, I do.
You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people don't understand it. What you mean by shots? Then when you get older, you realize, oh, he needs hormone shots. But you got to catch it before they turn 13. Because, you know, when puberty kicks in, it's kind of really hard to really catch it. You feel me?
Okay.
So what happened is, if you had a female body for one day, let's say Beyonce, and you know how people drool over Beyonce, right? But you got your conscience, what you got right now inside her body, and you see another female that's attractive, would you desire her?
Under the terms you just described, yes.
Why?
Because I have a male mentality with a female physical body.
Exactly. And it happens, and sometimes the woman is aggressive, where she don't take no crap from no man, and you stressing her out. She start pumping in testosterone into this female child that she has, and this female child will have the same tendencies of liking the same, you know, liking the same sex. Actually, she like what you like. You feel what I'm saying? So I'm gonna get to the hormone thing, right? You know what I'm saying with the hormone. So
Go back a little bit to when she switched the emotional state.
No, not the emotional, the hormones.
Right, but something had to turn it to where she was getting...
Yeah, because sometimes a woman be like, I ain't taking it no more. You know, sometimes when you suppress women with brute force that you were taught by the Europeans, you know what I'm saying, and also different tribes or species that you were mixed in with, oh, get off me. And next thing the woman said, okay. You know, and she starts submitting by not because of intellect, because of she doesn't want to get hurt. You feel me?
Yes.
But some women are so powerful because they've been suppressing their nature. It gets to the point that when you push a woman over the edge, she's like, I don't care if you kill me or not. I'll stab you. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? When you push a woman in the corner, she don't care what you say. Something comes out of her and she's ready to punch you in the face. And you see this happen before with a woman, brothers get into a big fist fight with somebody, her brother's getting beat up by, and she literally jumps in there and pulls the dude off her brother. That's testosterone. You got to remember that your hormones come from who? Because where did the testosterone come from for the fetus to actually become a male? It ain't come from you.
So she had it all wrong.
Because you start off as a female in the womb first. So you don't just already come equipped. I got testosterone is ready to, you know, to explode when I'm ready to. No, it doesn't work like that. You can still get your testosterone from her because she produces it. You feel what I'm saying?
Yes.
She just had low level of testosterone. She doesn't have abundance of testosterone as a male does, but she still has it. You feel me?
Yes, I got you on that part.
Just like you have estrogen in your body. You know that, right?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because you have an X chromosome.
Yes.
And like my brother was saying earlier, the Y chromosome, which was on the board and show it defective, is nothing but a defective X chromosome, meaning that you have 4 stems. When you look at the Y chromosome in the microscope, it has 4 points. I mean, X chromosome, you hear me?
Yes.
And what happened is one of the chromosomes or stems are missing from that X chromosome. It gives you the appearance of the Y. So we look at the 2 alphabets in the English language, X and Y, those are not really alphabets. Those are actually how chromosomes look inside of the body. You know what I'm saying? So what happened is 2.8 is missing. This is why you don't have memory glands. This is why your ovaries are hanging on the outside of your body. This is why your penis is hanging on the outside of your body. You feel me? So what happened is when you start studying languages that our master teacher had taught us, one thing he said linguistics. So what he does is he studied languages. He said one of the biggest reason why we are under the spell is because we don't study the languages that we learn. So what is the male reproduction organ called?
The penis?
What's the female's reproduction organ called?
Vagina?
Right?
Yes.
And they said that her stimulation point is her what?
Clitoris?
Exactly. Now watch this. You look at the word penis is the Greek word for tail. Something that hangs. You hear me?
Okay.
Now you look at the word for clitoris, it's a Greek word for something that's closed inside. So actually it's still the same organ. But because we speak English, and for lack of better words, you think that the clitoris and the penis are 2 different things. They just gave you 2 different names for it. But still talk about the same thing. That means her clitoris was pumped with testosterone, and over a duration of time, it will actually start growing. Because what testosterone do? It's a growth hormone. You feel me? When you develop muscles, you get more hair, more mustache. You feel me? More body mass, your more bones are more denser. You feel me?
Right.
So what happened is her clitoris would start getting bigger to the point you say, wait, that's hanging outside of your labius. You know what I'm saying? You're like, ooh, are you a hermaphrodite? You see me? You hear me? She looks feminine, but she has an oversized penis. You hear me?
Yes.
So you say, oh, she's a hermaphrodite. So now you're dealing with deformity. You feel me?
Yes.
So when you're dealing with a hermaphrodite, you're dealing with a hermaphrodite spiritually, and then you're dealing with hermaphrodite physically. So you have homosexual and hormone-sexual. You hear me? You see what I'm saying? I know you're processing right now, right? So what happened is, if a person is born with a vagina and a penis, right? You still have, every man in here still has a vagina. It's just that it's closed off. Because when you look at the penis, the shaft of the penis has a long line that goes down the shaft of the penis, and it stops at the anal. It's a dark line. It look like it's something like you got cut open and it just healed right there. You know, every man know what I'm talking about. This is where your vagina was at. Because now the testosterone there, it closes that, and you're missing 2.8, it closes.
That's why the X is bigger than the Y chromosome?
Exactly. Like he said earlier, the X is bigger than the Y chromosome. So what happened is, you are a defective woman. No breasts, oversized clitoris, hanging ovaries. And then we sit here and go back with this male and female thing about this, what is really homosexuality? Because if you weren't here, there will be no such thing as a woman. Because how would you define a woman here on the planet Earth if there's no counterpart? You feel me? Because before you were created, non-gender. Do you understand what I mean by that? Yes. That means this being exists, right? Mm-hmm. And you can't really say it's the opposite because it's the only being. So that's a non-gender being. So this non-gender being in ancient Tamaray or ancient Egypt by the name of Sakumet, aka in Sumeria known as Mother Ninti, created a male from a female. So they took the woman or the Wu man and created you, who was originally created to be a servant to the woman. This is why you naturally court a woman by offering her materialistic things like, I'll buy you a ring, I'll buy you a car, I'll pay for the movies, I'll pay for the restaurant, I got money to get your hair done, your nose, your toes done. You feel me? So you're in a subservient mode when you want to get with this woman. But then the religion comes in and tells you that your woman has to submit to you. So once you get the woman, then the woman starts submitting to you because now you feel like, I'm the man. This is my house. But you don't do nothing for the house. You don't cook, you don't clean, you don't take care of the kids. So this is her house because you go out and make money to pay the bills and pay for the house. So you're still subservient, even though you want to be, no, not you, but men want to be macho men, but you still serve the woman. But now you serve her mentally, physically, but mentally you feel though you're in charge, she's in charge. Because you can't get nothing from her unless she allows it to you. And when you can't get it, you take it. Because you use brute force. And this is where rape comes about, or abuse and domestic violence, because you can't deal with the woman mentally. You feel what I'm saying? And to deal with the question that he was saying earlier, the mentality of these women, or why they act that way, because the man have done this to the woman. You have tore the woman down so bad, right, that you was the only person that can relate to this woman. All the other races didn't understand how powerful the black woman is. And when they realized how powerful she was, they said, you know what? I got to separate the black woman from the black man so I can bring the black man down. Because she is your power. You sit there and think you is, but you can't get nothing done without her. You think you think our men want to become lawyers, doctors, politicians, rappers, athletes? They did it because of the woman, because they needed to give the woman something, and it was materialistic. Because women like, no, this is not going to work. That's not. Yeah, I love you too, but the bills had to be paid. No, I love you too, but this car note had to be paid. Oh yeah, I love you too, but no, you gotta pay for the cell phone. You gotta be responsible. In ancient times, when you get married to a woman, you had to give her a dowry. So it was not, our relationships in Africa was not based on love. It's based on what you got. And the bond was fought over the years of trust and loyalty with that, but it was that love stuff that you see on TV about, hold your hands and light fire and pull roses out the ground that's going to die 2 days later. You feel what I'm saying? And sit there and say that I'm being romantic or romantic with you. You feel me? Yeah. And you got caught, and our women got caught up in this Alice in Wonderland spell. I want him to be sensitive. But when it's time for the murder to come through and he about to rob y'all, do you want sensitivity or you want a warrior? Do you want a sensitive man in the bed or you want a warrior? Only women can answer that question. You hear me? You don't want to be making love to no guy. Next, he start crying. It's like, tears coming out his eyes and stuff like that. You're like, no, it doesn't work like that. You feel me? So this is what happened. And what happened is a lot of these young women got caught up in this LOVE concept that has nothing to do with an African concept of what love is. We're following a European concept of what love is. You feel me? So what happened is, if this person loved this person and say, look, I love you, I care about you, and I have, feelings for you, right? People say, oh, you faggot, you homosexual, but these they have a bond. You feel me? Now you have a different type of homosexual where we call them pleasure seekers. They want to have sex and keep having sex, and they don't care who they have sex with, whether it's a male, female, or a dog, as long as they get an orgasm. You feel me? So these people right here are in the pleasure palace, so they don't care what type of sex they have, as long as they get that sensation or that nut. You feel me? So this is what happens that when you have two types of gay people. You got gay people that have respect about this stuff. They're respectable, and then when you feel like they're gay, like, wow, you don't seem like you're gay. Because they don't carry themselves off to the extremes. Now when you see the children walking around holding hands, those are not homosexuals. Those are pleasure seekers playing homosexuals. Because homosexuals don't chase men down like a man would chase a woman down. They have finesse, they have class, they date, you feel me? As opposed to like, oh, I like you like me, it's an attraction. Imagine how women feel about men. We're alpha males, we like lions. We just go home to the harem and we just have sex with all the females, right? That's what we were taught, that makes you a man, is how many women you can sleep with. You feel me? Oh, you the man, you the Mac. You got all the women. You just walk up and your whole thing is conquest of the woman's vagina. You feel me? So now you're a homosexual and you had the same type of passion and focus towards men. And they had